Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to episode 2 of Blues'n'2s, the 8 o'clock UK time, Monday evening, smokehead endorsed, beer endorsed, whiskey drinking live stream from myself, Dave Arcari. And every week I have a special guest. Last week we had Andy McGibbon from the Bonvilles in Ireland. And this week it is my absolute pleasure to have my great friend and the guy who's responsible for just about everything good that has happened in my musical life, Mr. Andres Roots, all the way from Estonia. Say hello to Andres Roots. How you doing, man?
Hello. I'm good, but you're already embarrassing me.
It's good to see you, man. I'm just going to try and get this thing going along the bottom, and trying to fly all this technology makes it quite hard. And cheers, it's lovely to see you, man.
Hey, cheers.
So what's been happening? How's things lockdown wise in Estonia and over your way? What's happening, man?
Well, the lockdown as such was never quite as severe as in the UK, but of course I had 3 months of concerts cancelled and so on and so forth. But the lockdown ended in May, and this month I've already done 3 gigs. Okay, 2 of them in Finland, but we already get to travel to Finland, and so it's sort of back to normal. But of course, it really isn't, because there are still restrictions, and no one really knows what happens in the fall. Whether there'll be a second wave, whether there'll be an economic depression, probably there will be some sort of. So I really don't know what the future holds.
And what's it like playing a socially distanced gig? Is it really weird?
Well, at first, when you get to the venue, then it's very socially distanced, and everyone is careful to greet you by rubbing their elbows. And after the gig, it's just the normal,
A few drinks in.
Yeah, but I think people are really enthusiastic, because they have been without the opportunity to go to any concerts for quite a few months, so they're really into it, really listening, really there for the performance, rather than there just to have a pint. So it's
Sure. Well, I was meant to be, as you know, in Estonia and Finland, end of May, beginning of June, and of course that's all that was all cancelled. Now, hopefully, we'll be safe enough for November. But the rest of I've just cancelled last week. I cancelled, bit the bullet, and cancelled both USA tours. I was a bit I was naively hoping I was naively hoping that everything would be all right and it would change, and then I realised that even if it was to change tomorrow, it wasn't going to happen this year. So there we go.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, it'd be really good if you could play us a song.
It would, if I could remember one. I'm still just trying to find my sea legs again after the forced holiday. Okay,
oh, wow.
let's see.
Okay, I'll put you through, man. Here we go. Awesome. Well done, man. That sounded awesome. I was a bit worried about the way we've had some audio problems with StreamYard,
Uh,
but that sounded
I
sweet here,
hope
man.
I have no idea what it sounded like, but I know that it's a new tune that I've been working on, and of course I completely forgot the main riff. So when it's on a record, it will sound a little different, but don't worry, you heard it first on Dave's show.
Well, we've had some people, Marco Aho's watching, Stephen Davis, Scott Kirkbride, Josh Parker across in Indiana, Sarah Ward, evening Sarah, Tony Gerber watching from Nashville, Paul Stewart, who we both know very well. Who else? Steve Byrne says hello, Estonia. Bob Wrinkley needs to get his ass out that canoe. Dorothy Mullen, good evening. Dorothy Ivor Corbally, who I think you met when you played here, Andrew. Steve P. Margaret McDonald. Who else? David Duffy. Bill Mullen, Tom Wallace. Tom Wallace, yes, my t-shirt is very good, Tom. I don't. Oh, Colin Jackson too. Tom Wallace, thanks. Oh, Betty Twaddle's watching. Leaf's watching. Our mutual friend, Unique Beats. Right, enough of me reading stuff out. So, Andres, this has to be said. We first met in about 2004-5 when you got me a show or a few shows in Estonia, including Augusti Blues, which I'm going to have to tell a story about in a minute. But how on earth, what put you in touch? What put us in touch?
I think I sort of expected you to be asking that. So I think 20 years ago, I was briefly living in a town called Otepää and working for a local newspaper. And the main office was in Valga, which is right on the border of Estonia and Latvia. And I had to go down there once a month. And they had something that we didn't have in Tartu for some reason at the time. They had a newsstand that carried foreign music magazines like the Mojo magazine and Uncut and so on and so forth. So every time I was there, I picked one up. And a few years later, we had moved, I think. By then we had moved twice within Tartu, and I was going through the magazines, and I saw that bit about you and the radio tones, and it was saying that how you stopped playing in a blues rock band and went acoustic and so forth. And I had just done the same thing. So because I finally had a decent internet connection at home, I felt compelled to email you and say hello. And somehow that ended up being your Augusti Blues gig. I really can't remember the details how that came about, but I know that you were kind enough to email me back and say hello.
Because I remember the first gig on that tour was in Crooks in Tartu, where you are now.
Yeah.
And the thing was not. Sorry, carry on.
The Crooks just closed. It will be. I think some offices or something like that. They are renovating, and I think last year they stopped being a pub.
Oh well, because last year we played a show in Tartu, and it was what was it, 20 years of the Blues Society, or I can't remember.
Yes.
Years?
I think 15, more like, yeah.
But the thing that I remember most before I came, it was my very first show outside the UK, and I was kind of concerned of. We were playing in the train station, as well as part of Augusta Blues, and also in the main stage later on. And I think I emailed you saying, I don't know if I've got enough material. I have to play different sets at each one. And you said, international headliner, you can do what you want. At which point I shat my pants. And it was a baptism of fire. And so I think I'm going to play a song there. I'm going to play one of the songs that I probably played at Augusta Blues. So I'm going to play Bring My Baby Back, I think. Margaret's telling me that it's all a little quiet, or from my end. I can't really do anything more about it. So, but this is a loud guitar. So hopefully... So, especially for all our friends watching in Estonia and the Baltic states and Finland, and of course everywhere, no matter where you are. Thanks for watching. This is Bring My Baby Back. Thanks, man. Thanks, Andres. Wow, what's happening now? Right, we're back. Actually, there's a wee doodah thing that I like your mug. Cheers. Cheers. I recognise that mug. Did you say you stole it from Sass?
Yes. Well, I very politely asked him if I can borrow it for the broadcast.
The mug belongs to Andres' son, Alexander, who we refer to as Sass. Does he still get called Sass, or was that just when he was little?
Well, we still call him that, but I think in more official situations, he prefers to be introduced as Alexander.
Okay, so Alexander, because now he's bigger than his mum and speaks better English than I do, as do you.
Well, he's almost as tall as me, but he's already wearing shirts that are a size bigger than mine. So suddenly I have a much bigger wardrobe than I used to have.
Oh, Stephen Davis is watching. Ian Zirins, hello, hello, hello. And what else was I going to ask? Yeah, what's do you have plans for what you're going to be doing, either recorded wise or live wise, when the lockdown eases? Will you be over here again soon?
I very much doubt that, because I was just making plans to see if I could visit the UK again sometime in September, October maybe. But right now, I do not know. I don't think it's. Well, I don't want to plan that far ahead, because there
It's
are
impossible, isn't it?
all sorts of options, and besides, there's a bunch of people in the UK who need to do the gigs. I'm all right here, but you know. But recording wise, I did record 3 EPs worth of home recordings, some of them sitting right here, and released them digitally in March and April and May. And now I can announce that they will appear on a CD album, I think late August, early September. So I'm putting those out.
Brilliant. Great.
And then I have had an album's worth of songs, actual songs with words and everything. And I've had very little patience to go into the studio and start recording an album with a lot of people contributing. But now I think it's time to do that as well. And Eric Redmouth Gebhardt from Alabama, he has agreed to sing a few. It's been 10 years since the first single we did together with him. And Ismo Haavisto, who will be on your show soon, I think, he'll be singing a few. And well, this is kind of like asking, proposing to somebody at a baseball game. But I was kind of thinking that maybe you would like to sing a few as well, if and when we get there.
Oh, I'd be happy to give it a try, man. It's funny. It was Southern Sky, and what was the other one on Roundabout?
I think Dead Man Stomp, maybe.
Dead Man Stomp. That's what it was.
Yeah, I know it had a viola on it, a violin or something. It was a strange arrangement, but
I'll maybe try and spend more time, be a little bit more melodic for you this time.
No,
but isn't it amazing that not only does the technology great letting us do this tonight live and speak to each other, and people can watch, and people like Jana Lindberg can say she's got to go out to work now, but thanks for tuning in, Jan. Hope you and Peter are good. We'll see you in Helsinki soon. Have you seen Andre? Have you seen them recently, Andres?
Yes, they were at the gig in Lahti. What was that? The Saturday before last, the Friday before last. Yeah.
Good. But yeah, the technology that lets us do this, and also that lets us collaborate on recordings, and you can record some there, send it over here. I mean, if we needed to, we could do it all in an hour. It's absolutely amazing. You couldn't even put it on a plane and fly there and do it any quicker. So the technology is amazing.
Yeah, but it's there are. I have no idea how you manage to keep up with it all. I'm having trouble following, but I can ask my son, luckily, to help me a bit with.
But the thing is, you're always churning out lots of new music. I spend too much time farting about with all this kind of thing. I should spend more time trying to write songs and learn to play the damn guitar. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, I always feel that I should spend more time playing the guitar at home and practice and write songs, and you never get to do that. Doesn't matter. Even when we were in lockdown, when it ended, I felt like I've been robbed of a holiday, because I was just about finally thinking that, okay, I've got about 3 books to read and I will take a week off. But even though I couldn't do anything during the lockdown, there was still stuff to do.
Oh man, it's been pretty crazy. But it is a shame you won't be in Scotland before the end of the year, or the UK. But we'll be in Estonia and Finland at the beginning of November, so we'll definitely be catching up.
Fingers crossed. When I came back from Finland the other week, I took a taxi in Tallinn, and the taxi driver was telling me that there's a rumor going around that Finland has already decided to close the borders come October, regardless of whether there's a second wave or not, but so that they can keep their own economy working. Well, you can't always believe taxi drivers, but who knows? There's a certain logic to that.
Yeah, because it's when the cold weather and winter time comes, it could be a risky time. Anyway, talking about risky times, how about another song?
Oh dear. Let's see.
Splendid. That was wonderful, man. That sounded ace.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. When am going to learn to play like that? It's fucking great. Oh, man. So, how's you put together an EP of songs from when you were over here last
Yeah.
year, the Loch Lomond EP? How's that going? Are people enjoying it?
Well, that was a limited edition thing, but the same songs appeared on the Mississippi to Loch Lomond album, CD album.
Yeah.
That had some bits from the States, and then I think 3 songs from a jazz club in Estonia, in Pärnu. And the unfortunate thing was that album was released on 6th of March, and the tour was supposed to start on the 13th of March, and on the 12th we were in lockdown. So sort of took the wind out of that as far as the gigs and some of the promotions are very concerned. But I think the reviews have been good, and the radios have been playing it in France at least. So I think people like it. I like it a lot.
And is there anything, I mean, you're a full-time musician and your wife is an artist, how have you managed through this? Has it been a struggle, or have you managed to get some other bits of support or shift some merch? Have there been anything that's been particularly helpful?
Well, basically, the most wonderful thing about it all was that so many people, friends and fans and people I hadn't seen in years, suddenly phoned up and asked, are you okay? How are you doing? Can we help somehow? But I was also lucky that I got a monthly grant from the Performers Union that sort of took care of all the health insurance and everything. So it's not much, but at least it took off the pressure that what do I do if something happens? So that's got me through. But as for Siret, I think she actually had a pretty good spring season because people were at home and they were ordering artwork for their walls, especially in America. So she said that I think her March and April were much better than March and April last year.
Do you think it's interesting?
Yeah.
This is one of Siret's amazing pieces of art. It's a bit glare. Is that better? Oh, there we go. It's on the wall right beside me. I can't get it back up. If you hear a crash in a moment, it's because it's fallen, but it's all squint now on the wall. Similarly, things were fairly lucky here that there were little pockets of support from some of the musicians' organisations, Help Musicians and the Musicians Union, PRS, Emergency Fund, and Creative Scotland allocated some money as well out to people. So it's not been terrible. They've helped, and like you, it's the overwhelming support from friends and family and fans. You know, especially I've done 3 or 4 full-length live stream concerts, and I've been knocked out by people's generosity, pardon me, and enthusiasm. You know, it's been amazing. So I'm going to play another song, and it's quite good to do things like this because I don't want to feel. You know, I was kind of starting to get concerned that every time I came in a live stream, it was like, you know, make a donation, help me out. So I was keen that we could do something that wasn't just me sitting playing. It had some other people on and some guests, and we could have a chat at the same time. And it's not really like this. Definitely isn't like work. Right.
You always have the best ideas, man.
Well, I have some ideas. I don't know if they're the best ones. I need to try and channel them if I can find my bottleneck. I was so ill prepared. I had no idea what I was going to play tonight. I was too busy trying to make sure the technology wasn't going to let us down. And it's a funny thing. I'm watching this on trying to monitor my iPad so that I can react from time to time if people make comments and who's watching. But I'm seeing that there's some captions coming up and they're auto-generated, and I don't know how I'll take them off later on, but I don't know how to stop. It shouldn't really be happening. And, I don't know. Oh dear. But anyway, I don't know if they're going to make sense. So we'll probably have a good laugh at the captions, the auto captions. This is a song called Cherry Wine. tasted cherry wine? Have you ever tasted cherry wine? Have you ever tasted that cherry wine? Oh, the sweetest thing you'll never find. Oh, the sweetest thing you'll ever find. The sweetest thing you'll ever find. Welcome back, Andres.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
But it's funny to hear the song without the
it was,
story.
yeah.
You're
I don't, you'll have to come. Anybody out there that doesn't know the story, you'll have to come to a gig to find out what the story is, or you can email Andres and he'll tell you. Cheers. Oh man. So do you know what? One of the things, I don't know if you've found this, but although I've been doing the live streams, it's a bit like playing a bit of a gig once a month. Oh, thank you, Melanie, and Bill Kane, and Perry. Sorry, I'm reading this stuff that's coming out here while we're going on. Tony Gerber, just to show that we really are live and we didn't record this earlier. Just playing. I'm not had an awful lot of time to practice, and because there's no great. There's no great concentration of gigs, or at my end, no gigs. I kind of worry that I'm starting to forget the words to things and not really be match fit. Did you find that when you went to Estonia? It felt so long since you'd played before you went to Finland. That it had been so long.
I mean, I had an actual nightmare. I think sometime in May. I woke up and the situation in my dream had been that when it was time for the first gig after the lockdown, and I got there and I hadn't had the time to compile a set list, and I couldn't remember any of the songs. I couldn't remember which songs I knew. What am I going to play? So I was really nervous. The first night in Finland when we played, I did a solo set for half an hour before we did a band set with Ismo Haavisto and Matias Parden, and I was really nervous. But it really helped that the audience was so kind, and there were so many friends in the audience who had turned up to see us, and the place was packed, and it was a great night. So I'm still struggling. I think I have to do this week. I have to do 2 times 45 minutes in Tartu on Friday, so that the other 45 minutes I will have to start practicing for, because I have no idea what I'm going to play.
And you were on the news in Estonia last night, on the TV news?
Yes, that was the annual Wild West thing near Haapsalu in Palivere, and they, for some reason, they interviewed me, used one sentence, but they used it, and it was nice to see the footage from the gig, especially with a very young gentleman climbing the stage. The funny thing is that as far as I know, his last name is also Roots, although we are not related. It's a fairly common surname in Estonia.
You have to put people that are watching this that don't know you, and hopefully will now be following you and checking you out on Spotify and all the other places.
Hello.
Roots is your real name, isn't it?
Yes, it is. My father was Harry Roots. His father was Oswald Roots. His father was August Roots, and so on. We pronounce it Roots, not Roots, but it's a very common name. It comes. Sweden in Estonian is Rootsi. So I think somebody sent me an article about a year or 2 ago that said that in the 1600s the northern part of Estonia was under Swedish rule, but not all of Estonia was. So people who came from the Swedish region, they were referred to as Swedes, as Roots, and that's where it comes from.
Well, because I mean, it couldn't be a more apt surname.
Well,
playing Roots music.
Thank you, and yes, but by now even Estonian journalists are asking me if it's my real name. So I get to explain that a lot.
Oh man! Well, listen, it's been absolutely fantastic to see you. It's been fantastic to get a chat. Even better to see and hear you play a few tunes. Hopefully we will see you over here early in 2021, and hopefully I'll get to come and see you in November.
Yes,
All
fingers
fingers
crossed.
being crossed. Love to Alexander, Saret, and all our pals in Estonia. Say hello to everybody for us. And I'm going to check out now. Next week, we've got a pal from the USA, Mr. Charlie Parr, who some of you may know. A lot of you probably don't know, but he is an awesome guy as well. And he will continue this very fine procession of guests that we've had with Andres, you tonight, and Andy McGibbon last week. And Ismo, that we referred to earlier on in this, is a friend of both Andres and I. We both played shows together with Ismo, and he's been over here too. And so Ismo will be my guest. I'm not sure if it's the week after. I think the week after Charlie is Tom Jordan from 20 Watt Tombstone in Wisconsin, and then I think it's Ismo next week. I need to check the schedule because a lot of this is not set in stone yet, and I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. So, thank you very much again, Andres. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having me. And please say hello to Margaret and everybody else I know, in the village.
Everybody here in East Loch Lomond sends you the regards. There's a lot of them watching just now, and there's been quite a few comments, but it's difficult. Apologies to all the people that are commenting. It's really difficult to try and do this and see the comments and find an apt point to respond, but take it from both Andres and myself that we're delighted that you've been watching, and thank you for your continued support and enthusiasm. And on that note, I'll say cheerio to Andres, cheerio man, and I will say cheerio from me, and we'll see you I was a bit too hasty there. We'll see you next week with Charlie Parr from Duluth, Minnesota.